right now. I want to welcome to the program Ken Klukowski from Breitbart News. How you doing, sir?
Good to be with you, Cam.
Well, it's good to be with you as well. Now, the Supreme Court recently said that they would not take a New York State case challenging the May issue laws there. We can't really read a whole lot into that, but we do know that there are other right-to-carry cases out there. So you've got a piece at Breitbart News wondering, could the court take one of the perhaps the next case, and what might the next case be?
Well, the ideal case for them to take would be Moore v. Madigan, which is combined with Shepard v. Madigan. This challenges Illinois, which is the only state in the country where there's no permitting system. Just no one is allowed to carry a gun outside their home, period. Only state in the country where that's the case. And the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit struck it down. Interestingly, the opinion written by an anti-gun judge, but one who said, look, this is just the logical application of the Heller and McDonald cases from the Supreme Court, and as a lower court judge, I am bound to faithfully follow their reasoning. And but the thing is, it looks like, rumor has it, that Mike Bloomberg has lobbied hard the Illinois governor and the Illinois attorney general not to ask the U.S. Supreme Court to take this case. So we'll find out when, I believe the deadline is in a little over a month. We'll find out then whether Attorney General Lisa Madigan asks the Supreme Court for review. If she does, this is the perfect case to take to the court.
Okay, because it's a clean case, very similar to McDonald and Heller.
That's right, and that's part of what has Mike Bloomberg so scared. He said, look, you guys suffered a massive defeat if you're an anti-gunner. You suffered a massive defeat in Illinois. Don't make it a massive defeat for the whole country by getting another Supreme Court decision, affirming Second Amendment right to bear arms.
Right, and I know that Madigan has, in essence, said, well, we're going to wait and see what the legislature does. A May issue bill was voted down yesterday. We're going to be talking with Todd Vandermite here in just a few minutes because some shall issue legislation is going to be or could be voted on in the House today. So it may be that the legislature takes care of this issue in Illinois, in which case, Ken, there are still some other May issue cases out there, including the Peruta case in the Ninth Circuit out in California.
That's right. You've got the Peruta case in the Ninth Circuit. You've got the Woolard case in the Fourth Circuit. The flaws that I raised, I said in my column that the Kuchelski case, which was denied out of New York, one problem was the whole issue of permitting in licenses. I am not at all confident. We might, but I am not at all confident that we have 5 votes on the Supreme Court. As someone who deals a lot with the Supreme Court, we have no reason to believe we have 5 votes to draw the line in the right place when it comes to an issue about needing to get government permission in terms of gun ownership. Under what criteria the state can decide whether you have proper cause to demand a gun or whatever. There's a real disconnect right now between the original meaning of the Second Amendment and I think where the current membership of the Supreme Court would be. The other is, though, I don't think it was the best legal team bringing the case. There's been issues at the court before with that, and I really think that impacts the court's reasoning. It's the lawyer raising the issue has put arguments before the high court before that they didn't go for, and now that approach of taking these very broad and aggressive arguments are proving to be losing arguments in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases in the lower courts, and those losses are starting to mount up.
Okay. So, Ken, do you think at some point, and I realize I'm asking you to sort of read minds here, but do you think at some point the court will have to take a right-to-carry case?
Well, at some point they will. Now it'll be interesting. I think it'll have to do with open carry rather than concealed carry, because of course those are different. And it's possible the court could say that constitutionally one is protected and the other is not. They really do. The courts could be very careful in figuring out the next case to take. I could not be happier than if Paul Clement is again in the mix to argue before the court in the next case, because Paul has done a magnificent job up to this point, and I believe he would continue to do so. There are some other very talented lawyers as well, but I think we need the right facts, and we need the right arguments, and it needs to be put forward by the right lawyer.
Talking with Ken Klukowski. And Ken, again, really appreciate you joining us this afternoon. I've got to ask you your take on yesterday's votes in the Senate as well.
Well, I think it puts the lie to Mike Bloomberg's absurd notion that the NRA is no longer relevant in American politics. I think we saw a perfect example of the most capable and powerful and well-disciplined public advocacy organization in the country, NRA, marshaling the support of the majority of American gun owners and getting past the sound bites, getting past the demagoguery and grandstanding that President Obama was doing, having reasonable conversations one-on-one with lawmakers, getting into the facts with them about what will help protect children and what will not. And even in a Democrat-controlled Senate, we see that the right to keep and bear arms is valuable enough, and that the NRA is capable enough of explaining what works and what doesn't, that the Senate voted it down. So a massive defeat for Barack Obama. He put a tremendous amount of his own political capital coming off his reelection on the line here. And taking this defeat consumed a lot of his resources that could have otherwise been used to push other bills through. So I think this will have a ripple effect. The President of the United States just did a face plant, and it smacked pretty hard when he came down.
Well, all right. Well, listen, Ken, appreciate your time this afternoon, sir, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you, Cam.
You bet. Ken Klukowski with Breitbart News.